A silent bond broken. A secret bond broken. I know I die alone, but yet I'm hoping. Sad, dog. Sad day in hip hop. Tell you that much. Sad day in hip hop. For most of us out here that want to keep hiding in the shadows, we don't understand why this is happening and why we must all repent. We're going to listen to Jay-Z's testimony. According to the Daily Press that was in court, many people don't understand that we're at war right now. And this testimony that Jay-Z did with, no Diddy, they call him No Dignity, is very, very revealing of a lot behind the scenes. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this testimony. We're gonna hear this testimony, rather. I want y'all to paint a picture in your mind of the testimony that Jay-Z did that is a game changer in regards to justice for King Pac. It's just sad. It's just sad. That's right. This is the game changer here. Director Moses. We are tired. We are tired, y'all. We're tired of playing this game wrong. We got to start playing our cards right. We got to start understanding that, brothers can't be selling each other out. Brothers can't unalive each other and expect to get away with it. And brothers can't be trading each other. I mean, just looking at Jay-Z's look, how he looks at Diddy when they were just toasting, it's almost like he's unsure of like why he's rocking with Diddy. But I could tell that look. That look is, man, I don't know, man, but you got a lot of bread, dog. Where you getting this money? What happened, man? Because Diddy just did the most no thing ever in our community. Don't do no Cain business. Because you can't do no Cain business taking out your brother Abel. Ain't none of that. Nobody needs that in our community. It's very sad. It's very sad that a brother would do that to another brother over music, over just trying to survive. It's very sad. It's unbelievable to a lot of people. We get it. It's unbelievable to a lot of people that a game that we love can hurt so badly because we decide to play the game wrong. We decide to be so competitive that most people don't understand. So what we're going to listen to is very revealing of hip hop, that we need to see this side that is taking over our minds, our hearts, our spirit, and we need to all repent in regards to why are we constantly killing our brethren. We cannot be doing this, because no matter what, the war is the revolution against these nations that are causing this for the love of money, is the root of all evil. So there's more than behind Diddy. There's so much more, all the way to the top of the White House, all the way to the top of the Donald. That's right. Is this the last Trump? Or is this something that is going to be a real revolutionary warfare beyond Diddy that you can never imagine? People think you take out one man, oh, the evil is gone. This is beyond even the mafia. That's right. This is something so wicked that it must be erased immediately. Now we're gonna listen now. All right, we're gonna listen to this so we don't get it all in the way. You know. Yeah. It don't matter what you think, man. It ain't about what you think. It's what you can prove. Now get lost. Go find something to jerk off to. You talking shit. People like you should not exist. There we go. Let's get it on. Let's play some. So idiots
The
like
following
this
is for
don't get bored
educational and entertainment
lose
purposes
themselves.
only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. The moment finally arrived. After months of speculation, court documents, and mounting public pressure, Sean Jay-Z Carter stepped into the courtroom, not as a mogul, not as an icon, but as a man defending himself against disturbing allegations and as a defendant for Diddy. With Diddy's world unraveling and freak-off parties now a part of sworn testimonies, Jay-Z was dragged into the storm by association. His name was attached to rooms he denied entering, events he claimed never happened, and victims he insists he never met. But how would he defend himself in front of the jury, the media, and the culture? What would he say when the whole world was watching? This is the moment Jay-Z testified. The courtroom had just settled after a long morning of legal back and forths. The prosecution was preparing to reintroduce evidence linked to Cassie Ventura's testimony. Diddy's lawyers shuffled papers, half bored and overly confident. That's when the doors opened. Not quietly, not with warning, but deliberately. The way you walk into a room knowing the truth is finally about to catch up with the people who've been trying to outrun it. Jay-Z entered wearing a midnight navy suit, tailored so sharply it might as well have been armor. He didn't look left. He didn't nod. No entourage, no Beyonce, no Rock Nation team. Just him, a living legend stepping into a courtroom that hadn't expected to see him. Not like this, not on the witness list, not under oath. Gasps filled the room. The gallery stood halfway in reflex. One journalist dropped her pen. Cassie Ventura, seated behind the prosecution, leaned in to whisper to her attorney. Even the judge raised her brows slightly. Diddy. He turned toward the entrance and didn't blink. His eyes locked onto Jay like he was watching a ghost he buried 20 years ago rise from the dirt. This wasn't planned. Not by the press, not by the public. Jay-Z had requested a sealed session for his statement, but the court overruled it. Transparency. That was the ruling. And now, Jay was about to give the performance of his life. Not with lyrics, but with memory. He took the stand. He swore his oath. And the courtroom, filled with federal prosecutors, entertainment journalists, and attorneys who once negotiated million-dollar deals at brunch tables, leaned forward like they were listening to the first verse of a track they weren't supposed to hear. His voice, calm, controlled, but tight, like a rope pulled in both directions. "I want to make it clear," he began. "I came here because silence ain't an option no more." And with that sentence, everything changed. Because when Sean Carter speaks, not the mogul, not the rapper, not the billionaire businessman, but the man behind it all, it's not just a testimony, it's a reckoning. Jay-Z didn't waste time. He didn't come with denial as his opening weapon. He came with context, and that was even more dangerous. "Yes, I was invited to Diddy's events. Yes, I attended. But let me be clear, what I saw and what I was told were two very different realities." He said those words carefully, deliberately.
But let me be clear, yes, I attended Diddy parties, but I'm gonna have to tell y'all the truth.
His lawyers sat stiff. The defense looked confused. Was this helping them? Was he flipping? The answer would come slowly, piece by piece, as Jay-Z told the court something nobody expected. "I saw the setups, the NDAS, the confiscated phones, the back rooms with curtains. I never went in those rooms. I never signed those papers, but I knew." He paused. "I knew something wasn't right." That sentence broke the courtroom wide open, because it wasn't just an admittance of being present. It was an admittance of witnessing the mechanics of the machine Diddy allegedly built, a machine that Cassie, Dawn Richard, and others had described in excruciating detail. Jay-Z turned toward the jury. "You see, in this industry, there are..."
Gee.
What if there was a...
I never knew nothing about no NDS. I never signed anything, I mean, I knew something was wrong. I was like, I don't know, man. Sean Combs, you kind of crazy, dog. We can't be living like this, man. What you do to Tupac? I don't know what you did, bro. You kind of sold the man out. I don't know, man. What did you do? I don't know. You shouldn't have took up the king, man. That's why me and Beyonce. That's why we did me and my girlfriend, you know. Cause we can't be about your shit, dog. Nah, it's not real, bro. It's not real hip hop.
And the ones I was at, the ones I started walking away from, those weren't parties anymore. They were systems, designed experiences, the kind that aren't about fun. They're about power, control. The prosecution asked, "Did you ever witness anything criminal?" Jay-Z hesitated. Number, not directly, but I saw enough to know I shouldn't be there. He described one event in 2015, a party in Miami, supposedly for Christian Combs' birthday, where he says things got strange. They had masks, he said, like real masks. One man walked past me in leather with nothing but high heels on. People laughed. I didn't, because I knew that man looked scared. Jay-Z said he left early that night. He said he called a driver and didn't wait for the scheduled car service because I didn't want my name attached to whatever that was. Then the prosecution dropped the photo. A leaked image, blurry but authenticated, of Jay-Z, Diddy, LeBron James, and Beyonce in a room with a man in a latex mask kneeling on a velvet pillow. Jay-Z looked at it in silence. "I saw that moment," he said. "I was told it was performance art. I didn't laugh. I didn't stay." He looked at Diddy. "You knew people trusted you. You used that." For the first time, Diddy's jaw dropped. Then came the part that turned Jay-Z's testimony from damage control to destruction. He told the court about a private conversation he had with Diddy in late 2018, just after whispers of investigations started circulating in the industry. According to Jay, Diddy called him to get ahead of something. He told me, "They're coming for me. You gotta be careful who you stand next to." Jay said he asked Diddy point blank, "Did you do anything I can't come back from?" And Diddy allegedly responded, "It's just parties, Jay. Just experiences. Nobody gets hurt unless they wanna." Jay's voice.
Oh my God. That is so revealing. Wow. So Jay-Z did not know anything about the deepness, the deep state of Diddy involvement with the No Way Out Mafia, whatever they want to call themselves. So we see that he doesn't even know what Diddy's involved in the phone call. Like, did you do anything? I think it's because it was something very evil. Brother Pac's blood is very precious. And everybody else he did wrong to in the game, it was all part of the plan for him to come out and admit to his sins. Because that blood that you helped these clowns, these demons out here, took out, it was in the house of his friends, which is not good. You can't do that. That's a no-no. No wonder Nas and all these brothers step a distance. Set a feud in the whole game. My God, Diddy, God damn you.
Slightly. That was the last real conversation we had. He looked at the courtroom. I stopped answering his calls after that. Jay said he began distancing himself, skipping revolt events, pulling out of collaborations, even instructing Rock Nation reps to keep our brand away from whatever Puffs got going. Then the prosecution revealed something else. An email exchange between Jay-Z's legal counsel and an anonymous party from early 2020, in which Jay's team is warned that NDAs from past events might be weaponized against those who were present, even if they weren't involved. Jay nodded. I knew what that meant. They were going to use silence as a shield. I wasn't about to get caught behind it. He finished the third part of his testimony with a sentence that made headlines before the court even recessed. He used to be my brother, but now I see who he really was and who I almost became by standing too close. The room was silent, and the...
Oh my God. That definitely sealed the sword into Diddy. He used to be my brother. Jay-Z realized I have to let this pain go. I'm not part of what Diddy did. Diddy did it? Diddy didn't do it? See, this is why the game needs to change. This is why we need transparency on a level. And that's why we are making sure everyone is in charge of their own experience. You show what you want. We're not here for people to come. Fucking people, man. The hell, man. Too many callers, man. Bill collectors and their craziness. Your TV didn't go off. Don't worry. It's not the end of the world yet. Everybody went crazy just now. We got 3 million people watching and everybody want to go doo-doo. Okay, anyways, yeah. We need to change the game, y'all. Too many people out here shitting on brothers that's trying to make hustles and make legacies last for other brothers. But yet brothers out here with no talent. This is why. This is what's wrong.
Fallout just beginning. As Jay-Z sat forward in the witness chair, his hands folded. His voice came out strong, but undeniably emotional. The courtroom had already been rattled by the allegations and rumors circling.
This smartwatch has a higher accuracy in blood glucose measurement than medical testing devices, and it doesn't require finger pricking. It provides a painless measurement.
Stop selling.
Circling the trial. But now, the weight shifted. Jay-Z wasn't just here as a celebrity being dragged into another scandal. He was a husband, a father, and a man defending everything he had built. I need to speak about my family, he began, looking directly at the jury. Because when my name gets dragged, so does theirs. The room was silent. Jurors leaned in. Reporters stopped typing. Even Diddy, who had been scribbling notes on his legal pad for most of the morning, looked up. Jay-Z described the toll the accusations had taken on Beyonce and their children. Blue Ivy's old enough to read headlines now, he said. She came to me asking what a freak-off was. That's not something a father should have to explain. He described how, after the initial lawsuit named him, reporters swarmed outside their home. Paparazzi camped outside Blue's school. Headlines blurred fact and fiction, turning his life into a tabloid war zone. He continued, my wife has stood by me through everything. But this was different. This wasn't business drama or career competition. This was a nuclear bomb dropped on our family. And the worst part? It was all based on a lie. He then turned to the specific claim that he and Beyonce attended the alleged Miami freak-off in 2015. Jay-Z reached into a folder and pulled out flight records. On the night in question, we were in Paris, he said. It was our anniversary. We stayed at Hotel Plaza Athénée. I've included the hotel receipt, photographs, video timestamps, and multiple eyewitness accounts. We weren't there. The prosecution reviewed the material. The judge asked the clerk to confirm the dates. Everything checked out. Jay-Z had receipts, literally, but he didn't stop there. He called out the culture of clickbait and unverified gossip that had allowed these rumors to thrive. When did we stop demanding proof? He asked the room. When did accusation become conviction? He emphasized that his reputation wasn't just his own. It was tied to his wife's, his children's, his entire legacy. I've spent decades building something clean, something that lifts our community, and in a single headline, that gets smeared with no evidence? Beyonce was mentioned several times, but Jay-Z was careful. He didn't lean on her fame or status. He spoke of her as a mother, a woman blindsided by allegations she had no part in. I came here to defend truth, he said, and to make sure no one, not even a billionaire, gets away with burying people in lies. Jay-Z's composure never cracked, but his voice took on a sharper edge as he addressed the next major claim, the infamous Miami party, hosted at Gloria and Emilio Estefan's mansion, where he was allegedly seen by multiple witnesses during Diddy's alleged freak-off event. I want to be very clear, Jay-Z began. I have never, in my entire life, attended a party at Gloria Estefan's house. Not in Miami, not anywhere. He unfolded several documents, a timeline of his activities from that week, supported by security detail logs, transportation manifests, and charity event programs. He walked the court through every hour of the date in question. On the night of the alleged party, I was in Los Angeles Angeles. I was attending a charity dinner hosted by the Sean Carter Foundation at the Peterson Automotive Museum, he said. Here's my speech transcript. Here's the guest list. Here's a photograph with the mayor. The evidence was irrefutable. The court clerk displayed a screen showing the security log of the museum, which captured Jay-Z's entrance and exit down to the minute. But the part that hit hardest wasn't the proof. It was the breakdown of how these rumors got started. Jay-Z called out the vague phrasing in lawsuits and the power of innuendo. You don't need a lie to be loud, he said. You just need it to be repeated. He explained that his name had been attached to these rumors not because of any witness, but because of a pattern of him attending Diddy's events in the past. That's what this has come to? I once went to a brunch, so now I'm complicit in everything this man's accused of? He told the jury that the media narrative had spun wildly out of control. They printed that I was seen in a place I've never been, and that one sentence turned into dozens of articles, thousands of tweets, and irreparable damage. Jay-Z's team submitted a report showing how many news outlets had repeated the same false claim. Not one reached out for comment.
You listen to, Diddy when you should have been away. That's why Nas stepped away. Nas knew.
Not one tried to verify. As the judge acknowledged the validity of the records, Jay-Z looked toward the prosecution and said plainly, if you're going to drag a man into a trial this big, you better have more than gossip and guesses. The final stretch of Jay-Z's testimony took a darker, surreal turn as he addressed the ocean of conspiracy theories that had swirled since Diddy's downfall began. He shook his head, glanced at the jury, and said, I've been called a lot of things in this industry, but Illuminati puppet, master manipulator, murderer by association, that's a new one. He acknowledged the internet frenzy, how TikTok accounts had posted deep dives connecting him to everyone, from Harvey Weinstein to R. Kelly to Jeffrey Epstein. They say where there's smoke, there's fire, he said. But sometimes the smoke is just fog machines and YouTube edits. Jay-Z brought up specific accusations that he was involved in Aaliyah's death, that he helped orchestrate the deaths of Michael Jackson and Tupac, that he paid off people to stay silent about Diddy's freak-offs. Not one of these has been backed by a single shred of evidence, he said, but they get
Wow, see? Jay-Z had to admit, I have to get this out of my conscience because I heard this on the internet. Diddy, this is your problem, buddy. I think he did the deal on a level that was so hurtful. That's why Pac was admitting, what the hell? How could you do me like this and holler at me? My God.
Heated because it sells. He then took out a printed Reddit thread, one with thousands of upvotes speculating about his supposed inner circle with Beyonce and Diddy. He held it up. This is what passes for journalism now. Jay-Z explained how the theories had begun affecting real people. I've had family members get followed, business partners backing out, even death threats, because someone on the internet connected dots that
Helen Hansel was able to...
My goodness. That's how simple and plain people can do to your life. Connect some stupid dots, talk shit about you, talk about you do this, you do that. And then some idiot investigative nutcase want to put on some media case online about your life. This is what people do. But I got so much proof that I ain't never stepping foot in court because I don't play that shit. You don't know me, I don't know you. I don't party, and I don't bullshit. My word is bond. I don't give a damn if any judge don't believe it on earth. God believe me.
Silva was a radio repairman who
Yeah,
lived...
y'all. Let's continue.
don't exist. But then he did something unexpected. He admitted that silence may have made it worse. I didn't speak up sooner because I thought the truth would be obvious. But maybe I underestimated how fast lies travel when they come with good production value and ominous music. He ended his statement by saying, I'm not asking you to like me. I'm asking you to listen, to think, to demand proof. Because if we don't draw the line here today, then none of us are safe from what comes next. Jay-Z Jay-Z sat back, his testimony complete. In a courtroom where whispers had become headlines, his voice had just redrawn the battle lines. As Jay-Z finished his direct testimony and the room settled into a tense hush, the lead prosecutor stood. His name had been whispered for days. An aggressive federal litigator known for shaking even the most polished celebrities. He adjusted his glasses and looked straight at Jay-Z, who remained poised but visibly alert. "Mr. Carter," the prosecutor began, "you say you were never at Gloria Estefan's house. You've provided logs, photos, timestamps. That's all compelling." Jay-Z nodded slowly. "Because it's the truth." "But," the prosecutor continued, pacing slightly, "you have, by your own admission, attended Diddy-hosted events in the past. High-profile ones, brunches, fundraiser, award party." "Yes," Jay-Z said carefully. "Public events, industry events. Nothing like what's being described here." The prosecutor paused, then leaned in. "Did you ever witness anything inappropriate at any of those events?" Jay-Z hesitated. "Not for long, but enough for everyone to note it." "No," he said finally. "I saw celebrities networking, music playing, the usual. And you never saw Cassie Ventura at one of these events? Or any behavior that made you uncomfortable?" Jay-Z's jaw tightened. "Cassie was often present. She was Diddy's partner. But I never saw her in distress. And I certainly never saw the things she's described in her testimony." The prosecutor shifted gears. "So, when you hear now what she's claimed about coercion, about abuse, about..."
I don't want any charges, please, Diddy. I don't know about all these girls. How you getting all this? These hoes love me like Satan, man. Is that what Lil Wayne said?
so-called freak-offs. You're saying you're completely blindsided? I'm saying I didn't see it, Jay-Z replied firmly, and if I had, I wouldn't have stayed quiet. The prosecutor nodded. That's what Russell Simmons said too. The room gasped. Jay-Z blinked, his poker face breaking for a half second. Objection, Jay-Z's attorney barked. The judge sustained it, but the implication lingered in the air. The prosecutor continued, pushing the idea that Jay-Z's proximity to Diddy gave him access to more than just music industry clout. He floated the possibility that Jay-Z knew more than he was admitting, but without direct evidence. It was all strategy. The jury watched, some skeptical, others sympathetic. Jay-Z's final response before stepping down cut through the tension. I'm not here to protect Diddy. I'm here to protect my name. And if I was part of that world...
I'm trying to have a legacy. I'm not here to protect you, dog.
Even suspected it, I wouldn't be testifying. I'd be on trial. As Jay-Z stepped down from the witness stand, he adjusted his suit jacket, briefly glancing toward the gallery where Beyoncé was not seated, but her absence felt present in every stare. He exited through the side door, escorted by security, but the courtroom remained buzzing. Murmurs, head shakes, and gasps, some in disbelief, others in vindication. Reporters in the gallery exchanged frantic texts and notes. Social media was already erupting. Headlines flashed, Jay-Z breaks silence under oath. Jay-Z versus prosecution. Jay-Z defends Beyoncé and family from Diddy ties. There was no waiting for a verdict. The internet had already rendered one. But inside the room, something more complicated was unfolding. The jury...
I'm not guilty, jury, but I don't know about Diddy, You gotta lose the hop. We only need the hip.
Unreadable. Juror 4, a middle-aged black woman in a beige pantsuit, scribbled steadily in her notepad. Juror 9, a young man with a military haircut, stared at the empty witness chair long after Jay-Z had left it. And the alternate juror, he bit his pen cap in silence, eyebrows furrowed. One spectator, a former bad boy intern, was caught by the sketch artist wiping tears from her eyes. She told a reporter during recess, he talked like he didn't know. But we saw him at those events. Maybe he didn't see what we saw, or maybe he just looked away. Cassie Ventura remained stone-faced, seated at her attorney's table. She didn't react during Jay-Z's testimony, but when his voice cracked mentioning Blue Ivy, she briefly looked up, not with empathy, more like a question. Was he protecting his family or protecting himself? Even Diddy, stoic throughout much of the trial, showed signs of twitching. He tapped his pen faster. His eyes scanned the room. Jay-Z's denials had hit him too, not as a betrayal, but as a signal. The ship was sinking and everyone was trying to find a lifeboat. The judge called a short recess, and as the room emptied into the hallway, voices clashed. Some were Team Jay-Z. He showed receipts. He came clean. What more do you want? Others weren't buying it. He's just saving face. He's been part of the system forever. And in the middle stood the truth. Nobody really knew, but everybody had.
Well,
How to beat the heat. If you're
well, we're gonna move forward. And here Jamie Foxx's testifying against Diddy. We'll give you about 10-15 minutes of that. And yeah, you know, don't be a rat. You know, speak your truth, but when they attack you. So don't get wrathful when you're being testified against whatever the case is, even if you're in the blind. If people talking stuff about you, Jay-Z, about Illuminati, this, and that, you should have been, you know, you should have been coming out and talking in publics or in your own platform. I'm tired of you niggas being all no solicited material, too private, or too this and that. That's why you get accused and your name get dragged around and you keep doing secret businesses, because no matter what, you can't have one foot in the world and one foot in the kingdom, okay? So stop your wahala.
willing to stay cool in hot, stuffy rooms without an air conditioner, this
It's a lie.
Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. When Jamie Foxx entered the courtroom, no one expected what he was about to say.
After this,
For months, rumors swirled. A mysterious medical emergency, cryptic Instagram posts, silence from friends, and whispers that someone was trying to end him. But now, under oath and in front of the world, Jamie is breaking it all open. He's naming names, revealing what he saw inside Diddy's infamous parties, and exposing the dark truth behind the industry's most powerful elites. With his voice steady, but his hands shaking, Jamie declared, "This wasn't just a health scare. This was a warning, and I survived it." What follows is a testimony packed with secrets they swore would never see daylight. From missing footage, to hush money, to the people who told him, "Stay quiet, or you're next." This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is Jamie Foxx's story, and it might be the most explosive moment of the entire trial. Jamie Foxx took the stand wearing a tailored black suit and a face that showed every ounce of the storm he'd weathered. The courtroom was frozen in anticipation. He hadn't spoken publicly since his mysterious hospitalization, and now, instead of a press release, it was sworn testimony. "They told me not to come here," he said calmly. "They said, if I talked, I wouldn't make it to the courthouse." His statement hit like a freight train. Jamie's voice didn't shake, but the weight of it carried through the room. He looked directly at the jury. "But I've already been through hell, and if I don't say this now, I may never get another chance." Jamie explained that before the so-called medical emergency, something far more dangerous had already begun. He started noticing he was being followed. Same black SUV, different cities, and no license plates, he said. "I knew I was being watched. I just didn't know why yet." Then he detailed an incident just days before his collapse. "There was a confrontation on set. Someone I didn't know tried to shake me down for $35,000. Said they had footage of me at a party and that it could change everything if it got out. I didn't know what the footage was, but I knew who sent them. Jamie says he called the cops immediately, and the
Jimmy Foxx said he called the cops immediately. Yeah, they have somebody else a video of you. It's gonna compromise you, man. You wanna put $1 million on the table? People are crazy. You have the videotape?
person was removed. But the message was clear. Someone wanted leverage, and someone wanted silence. He then told the court that for weeks before that, he had received anonymous texts, strange numbers, no contacts, saying things like, "Don't forget who made you," and "You've seen too much." He brushed it off at first, thinking maybe it was a prank. But when his assistant got an email referencing Jamie's daughter by name and the school she attended, he knew this was serious. That's when I told my people, if anything happens to me, don't call it an accident. And if I go down, make sure the truth doesn't.
It's
His
not
testimony
supposed to be
wasn't
laughed
angry.
at.
It was surgical.
This game is so
Controlled.
sick like this.
Like a man who had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in his head. I almost died.
This is the secret of the used car market.
This game, fortune and fame. Park already warned us. Don't love this game or love this world. And we keep trying to get in this game thinking your talent means everything. When you don't understand, people like to do extortion. Unfortunately, there's mafias out here. There's extorting people's lives and making you famous just to bring you down.
Stroke or a vaccine or some medical
They got two sides of the coin here.
I almost died because I
Listen.
knew too much, and I started asking the wrong questions. Jamie paused before diving into what he called the real beginning of the end. He explained that just a few days after the extortion attempt on set, he began feeling off. Not tired, not sick. Office, like something was wrong inside me, but I couldn't explain it. He testified that on the morning of his medical collapse, he woke up disoriented, struggling to speak clearly, and with an intense pressure in his chest and neck. I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't talk. I was looking at people, trying to ask for help, and no words were coming out. His security team rushed him to the hospital, where the initial diagnosis was vague. Possible neurological event. Stroke? Seizure? They didn't know. But I knew, Jamie said. I knew it wasn't natural. What followed was weeks of silence. His family issued a statement thanking fans and asking for privacy, but offered no details. Even his closest friends were kept out of the loop. Jamie explained why. Because I didn't trust anyone. Because in that hospital, while they were poking and scanning me, I realized this wasn't over. It had just started. He revealed that police came to visit him at the hospital shortly after he began recovering. Not just to check on his health, but because someone had called in a tip that Jamie believed he had been poisoned. I didn't say the word, he told the jury, but someone close to me
Poison,
did.
subscribe.
They overheard
Please,
me
subscribe.
telling my doctor, I feel like I was given something. He said tests were inconclusive,
I need a
but
subscription.
he wasn't convinced
please.
that meant nothing happened. You don't need hard proof when your body screams that it was attacked. Jamie shared that during his stay, his phone disappeared. So did his personal journal. His security footage from his home the night before he was hospitalized? Gone. My team went to pull it, and the system had been wiped clean. Then, quietly, he said, I felt like I died, and maybe that was the goal. The courtroom was still. The prosecution glanced at the jury, who sat stone-faced, hanging on his every word.
That's why he did what's not
So,
cool.
when people asked why I didn't post a hospital selfie, because I wasn't playing into that. I wasn't about to pretend I was okay when I knew I was almost gone.
Such
Jamie took a
goat.
breath,
He's not
and
a
then
sheep.
said the name that made
Like
headlines
us.
around the world. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Diddy. He looked straight ahead and continued, That's who I believe wanted me quiet. He explained that over the years, Diddy invited him to numerous private parties. At first, it was just networking. Cool vibes, big names, expensive champagne. You know how it is. But over time, Jamie said the invitations
Diddy
got
wanted
more
a
exclusive
party. See,
and
no.
more disturbing. They'd say, no phones. They'd ask you to sign something, NDAS. But not just about what you saw, about who was there and who was with who. Jamie said the parties had a different energy than anything he'd experienced before.
Crazy.
There were back rooms, velvet curtains, people escorting others into dark corners, and I saw people I recognized, politicians, athletes, actors, doing things I knew they didn't want public. He said he never participated.
Diddy can't even dance.
It felt wrong,
That's how
and I
we knew
wasn't
you
going to
in
get
West
caught up in
African.
it. But that was the problem. When you don't play the game, you become a threat.
Or West
He revealed
Continental
that after he
African.
declined to attend
We
a
call
party in 2022,
Afrobeats. That's us.
someone from Diddy's circle told him, "You acting brand new. You forgetting who
took
helped
up
you out early
the
on."
king of us.
Jamie brushed
Tupac.
it off. But later, he started receiving pressure from mutual friends to stop bringing up stuff in interviews. They didn't like that I joked about the parties or mentioned certain names. Jamie also described a specific incident where he saw a well-known male artist leave one of Diddy's parties looking traumatized. He said,
Diddy is
"This
scarred.
dude was shaking."
Took out
Said he
Mufasa.
saw something in a back
Tupac.
room that made him never want to
and
come back.
Biggie.
The artist never spoke publicly, but Jamie remembered that moment clearly and feared he was next. As Jamie's testimony closed for the day, he said something that left the courtroom in stunned silence. "If I didn't speak now, I'd be part of the silence. And silence is what they've used to control everyone. But I'm done being quiet." Jamie Foxx's voice lowered as he leaned into the microphone. "This is the part that's haunted me for years," he said, "because what I saw didn't make sense until I looked back." He began by referencing a seemingly innocent interview clip that had gone viral. The one where he casually joked that Nick Cannon had once slept on his couch at
Diddy
age
is an
13.
anti, man. He ain't here
It
for
was a
this.
laugh,
He
a
don't
memory.
believe what we do.
But then I realized
He
how
ain't
deep
part of
it
us.
really went. Jamie looked out at the jury. Nick wasn't just crashing. He was escaping. He described
part
how
of
Nick
them.
had confided in
These
him
other
about
people
strange encounters and being
that hate
introduced
us.
to the industry in ways that made him uncomfortable. Jamie said, "Nick told me, 'You saved me, man. Your house was safe.' And that stuck with me." But what really made Jamie's testimony unforgettable was what came next. The moment he directly connected these stories to Diddy. Jamie claimed that several young artists, boys and girls, had passed through Diddy's homes over the years, some disappearing from the spotlight without
Arabian
explanation. You look back and realize they weren't rising stars. They were collateral. The implication was undeniable, that the grooming and exploitation extended far beyond parties, that it was systemic, and that powerful people knew about it
Might as well go
and
work for
said nothing.
MBS.
The room grew heavier
He
as
probably
Jamie
does.
Foxx took a moment before speaking again. "Now I'm going to say a name," he warned, "and I want everyone to listen
Just
carefully.
like Trump.
Kim Porter." Jamie's voice cracked slightly as he said it. She wasn't just Diddy's ex. She was a mother, a businesswoman, and she was scared.
Gee.
He told the court that Kim had once confided in him at a private event, just a few months before her death.
Shit ain't right, dog.
She pulled me aside. She didn't smile. She didn't talk about the industry. She said, "Be careful who you trust, Jamie. There are people watching us." He revealed that Kim had told him she was planning to speak to someone, either a journalist or a federal contact, about what she had witnessed over the years. She said, "I saw too much, but now I'm tired of being quiet." Jamie paused, And then, just like that, she was gone. Kim Porter's death in 2018 was ruled pneumonia. But Jamie, like many others, never accepted that. She was healthy, he said. She was active, and she was afraid. That's not coincidence. He then brought up Al B. Sure, Kim's ex and father of one of her children, and the strange posts he made after her passing. He said she was murdered. He said she should have called the FBI. And then he edited the post, like someone got to him. Jamie told the court that Al B. had reached out to him privately afterward. He told me he didn't feel safe anymore, that things had been moved around in
we
his
got
home,
Kanye
that
West
someone was watching him breathe. Jamie listed the
testifying.
names of others who had
You're
died
gonna hear
suddenly
that
in connection
also.
with Diddy.
This is
Heavy
crazy.
D. Andre Harrell.
It's a Satan
He said,
funeral.
they're gone. And the only thing they all had in common, besides Diddy, is that they knew things they shouldn't have. He also revealed that two of Kim's closest friends had told him she kept a journal, one that documented conversations, events, and names.
Everyone he's connected to.
That
all the
journal
way
hasn't
up.
been found, Jamie said.
Trust
And I
me,
don't think
it's
it
going
was
all the way
lost.
to the White House.
I think it was taken. The prosecution leaned forward. This was the
Double-edged
moment they'd
sword,
been
man.
waiting for. A bridge between suspicious deaths, a terrified woman, and a man with the power to bury it all.
The game
And
stopped.
then
when the
Jamie
fat
ended
lady
with
stopped
one line
singing.
that pierced the courtroom. Kim was ready to talk. And now I'm talking for her. The jury sat forward. The gallery stopped breathing. Jamie Foxx had been leading to this moment, the night that changed everything. It was early 2022, he began. I got a last-minute invite to a private event in Beverly Hills. I wasn't planning to go, but a friend convinced me. Said it was just drinks and music.
See?
Casual Jamie paused. It wasn't. He described arriving at a sprawling mansion, the kind of place where billionaires throw weekend getaways. Security was tight. Phones were collected at the door. I thought that was odd, but not unheard of, he said. What
This
was
is why we
different?
gotta stop all this confusion, man. Y'all gotta be about transparency. The man director don't like this shit. I am the man director, and I'm mad. I'm
The
mad.
energy. Jamie testified that as he entered, the music was soft,
Nobody give me a chance.
too soft.
Nobody ever
People
subscribe.
whispered
Nobody ever want to
instead
do
of
nothing.
laughed.
Because I'm
It
so
felt
good
like
at
a
what I
funeral
do,
wrapped in
everybody hate
Versace.
me.
He said he saw recognizable
And they love
faces,
guys like these that do
athletes,
bullshit.
rappers,
God
executives, and people I didn't recognize, but who clearly had power. The rooms were dimly lit, candles everywhere,
I get
curtains
fired
drawn,
at every job
and then a hallway.
before I can even do the
They
job.
called it the Gold Room,
God damn.
Jamie said. Someone told me that's where the real networking happened.
My God.
Jamie didn't go in,
So
but he
bad.
said he saw something through a gap in the curtain that made his stomach drop. There was a boy, couldn't have been older than 17, surrounded by men in suits,
God
and he
damn.
didn't look okay. He turned to leave, but a hand grabbed his shoulder. Stay, Jamie. You're one of us now.
What
a man
the
said.
hell?
Jamie
Your
looked him in the
nose.
eye and responded, No, I'm not. He left that night and never looked back. But he says the threats started soon after. Phone calls, anonymous DMS, people telling me to shut up before I ended up like the others.
The hell?
He finished part 6 with a chilling admission. That night, that's when I knew this wasn't paranoia. This wasn't Hollywood being weird. This was something else, something evil.
Something deeper.
And now, standing in court,
Look at Diddy.
Jamie finally
This
said
guy.
what he'd been holding in since that moment. I saw it.
This
I was never
nigga.
supposed to, but I did. And I will never forget it. Jamie took a deep breath, gripping the edges of the witness stand as he dove into what he called the cover-up phase. After the disturbing night at the Beverly Hills mansion, Jamie said he began documenting everything. I started saving texts. I told my security team to track the SUVs that kept following me. I installed extra cameras at my house and even on set. But then he revealed something that made even the judge visibly shift in his seat. The morning after my hospital collapse, my home surveillance system had been wiped. I'm talking no glitches, no error messages, just gone. Jamie's security team initially assumed it was a technical failure.
Hollywood is a
But
fucking
then
dumb game.
we found the hard drive. Melted. Not damaged. Melted. He brought photos, which were submitted into evidence. The drive casing appeared warped, like it had been exposed to high heat. But that wasn't all.
Man.
On the Back in Action set, just days before his health scare, Jamie said he noticed production had become chaotic. Cables rerouted. Security light sensors covered. One night, I tripped over a wire that shouldn't have been there. I laughed it off until I collapsed 2 days later.
Just hear my
He
message.
testified that he asked producer for behind-the-scenes footage. Security cams on set, hallway footage, anything. But once again, he was told the files were corrupted. Then came the biggest red flag. The footage from the very night the $35,000 extortion attempt occurred. Gone. Jamie stared into the courtroom.
The hell is this?
How is it that everywhere I go, cameras mysteriously stop working? Files disappear. Evidence vanishes. It's not paranoia if it keeps happening. He said an anonymous crew member later sent him a screenshot, an email thread labeled Foxx Fire Protocol. It included bullet points, clear recordings, control narrative, and prevent on-set leaks. The production company denied its authenticity, but Jamie believed it was real.
This actor is so naive, but I'm a director. I know the way people think, so I have to be very honest and humble, like God's servant, when I make movies. I don't do this shit. So y'all listen, let's continue. We're gonna go to Kanye West.
I feared. They
Kanye
were
West,
preparing
and
for
then
me
we're
to
gonna go to
disappear.
Will Smith.
When asked why he didn't share this sooner, he said,
Testify.
because I thought I could get
Against
better
Diddy.
and move on. But the
Hip-hop
more I
scene.
uncovered, the more I realized this wasn't about healing. This was about
We all know who
survival.
American Satan is.
The courtroom sat frozen as Jamie continued. This wasn't just a testimony anymore. It was a confession of how close he came to never telling his story at all. I stayed quiet because
Double
I was scared,
D's.
Jamie said plainly. Because when you're up against people with billions of dollars and
Triple
private jets and
Ds.
friends in every major media outlet, what do? He admitted that after his hospitalization, he almost signed a document, an NDA that would have given him millions in hush money. They offered it through a third party, he revealed. Said
I
it
wonder how Ray Cross got his money.
would secure my future, that I could retire comfortably. But the moment he read it, he knew what it meant. Silence forever. That's the game, he said.
That boy opened a
They
chicken
don't need to
farm.
erase you if they can buy your silence. Jamie revealed that a close
Okay, let's
friend,
go to Kanye West.
someone still working in the industry, begged him not to testify. He said, "They'll never let you work again." And I said, "Then I'll do something else."
Let's go
But
to
I'm-
Kanye West's. Kanye West's, y'all.
Big
Let's see it.
retailers don't want
Let's
you to
hear
have this zoom
Because
lens, but there's
we
nothing
getting
they
this
can do to
fresh
stop
from
it.
the press.
So there's this new super
You know?
powerful monocular.
We're getting it live.
Before we begin,
Exclusively.
viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for
Y'all can't get this
educational
channel.
and entertainment
We got this
purposes
channel.
only.
Subscribe to
This
our
is the
channel.
verbatim
We're gonna bring
federal
everything
courtroom
live.
testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. Kanye West just flipped the courtroom upside down. What started as a testimony against Diddy's alleged crimes turned into something far more explosive. Kanye accusing Clive Davis of orchestrating Whitney Houston's death.
Bam! Kanye West. Here we go. Here we go.
The judge was stunned. The prosecution didn't know what to say. And the gallery? Silent. According to Kanye, Everything we thought we knew about Whitney's tragic end was a cover-up, and he claims Clive Davis planned it all. In this video, we break down Kanye's courtroom bombshell, the evidence behind his shocking allegations, the eerie timing of Clive's pre-Grammy party.
Go get your friends. This is going crazy. The whole of America is gonna fall based on everything that is gonna be revealed off of Diddy Dignity None.
And why Kanye says Clive is the real puppet master of the music industry's darkest secrets. The courtroom was packed. Cameras outside buzzed like hornets, trying to catch a glimpse of Kanye West, who had arrived draped in a muted gray suit and shades, flanked by security. He was here to testify against Sean Diddy Combs in a high-profile trial already smothered in scandal. Everyone expected a spectacle, but no one was prepared for the seismic shift Kanye would cause. As he walked through the courtroom doors and took his seat, a hush fell over the room. This wasn't just another witness. This was Kanye West, one of the most controversial and influential voices in the music industry, and someone with a lot to say, maybe too much. Initially, his testimony aligned with expectations. Kanye began by recounting his early experiences with Diddy, referencing industry parties, joint projects, and what he described as deeply troubling behavior. He spoke about Diddy's manipulation of young artists and alluded to secret gatherings in undisclosed locations where people lost themselves. These statements were already headline-worthy. But it was when the prosecution asked Kanye a simple question about whether he believed Diddy was acting alone in these operations that the tone of the testimony took a drastic turn. "You want the truth?" Kanye asked, removing his sunglasses and looking straight at the jury. "Then you need to know this ain't just about Diddy. It's bigger, much bigger. This goes back to Whitney Houston. This goes back to Clive Davis." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Even the judge sat back, stunned. Attorneys on both sides looked confused, some alarmed. Kanye wasn't just testifying anymore, he was detonating a bomb. He pointed across the courtroom and said, "Y'all keep asking about Diddy like he's the top. He ain't. He's just a puppet. The real puppet master is Clive Davis." The courtroom erupted.
All of them.
A flurry of objections came from Diddy's legal team, but Kanye kept going, his voice louder, more intense. He brought up the 2012 Grammy weekend, Whitney Houston's sudden death, and the now infamous Clive Davis pre-Grammy party that continued just floors below her lifeless body. "You mean to tell me a man dies upstairs and you throw a party downstairs? That ain't tribute, that's ritual." Security began to move, but the judge motioned them back. "Let him finish," she said. Kanye then described how he believed the music industry is run like a shadow operation, with gatekeepers who decide who lives and who dies.
Oh my God.
According to him, Whitney was on the verge of exposing something much deeper. She knew too much. She was breaking out.
Tupac is
when
king,
you break out,
and these assholes
they
killed
put you
him.
down, he stated. The courtroom was
Now
frozen.
they're over.
Jurors
It's
sat
over for
wide-eyed,
this nation.
some leaning forward, others visibly shaken. Kanye had turned what was supposed to be a damning testimony against Diddy into an all-out expose on Clive Davis and an industry allegedly built on sacrifice and silence. Once Kanye had opened the door, he refused to close it. He turned his entire testimony into an unscripted manifesto against Clive Davis, drawing eerie parallels between what happened to Whitney Houston and what he believed nearly happened to himself. You ever wonder why all the legends die broke, sick, or alone? He asked the courtroom. Because they were never in control. They were managed, directed, pushed, and when they stepped out of line,
manage my own
they were
affairs.
removed.
I don't give a damn what you
The
want to do.
prosecution tried to redirect him
Don't ever
back to
come to
Diddy,
my face with
but
nothing.
Kanye waved them off.
Or anybody
"I'll talk
says.
about Diddy,
They will
But
be
first,
handled.
we got to talk about the man who gave him the playbook. He accused Clive Davis of masterminding the environment that allowed abuse and manipulation to flourish. Diddy didn't invent this. He learned it from Clive, from the system Clive built.
Yep.
Look at the pattern. Kanye then recounted the events of February 11th, 2012.
The devil
He
is a
told the
liar.
jury about Whitney being found face down in a bathtub,
And his name is
the
Clive
paramedics
Davis.
arriving too late, and how
Clive
Clive Davis
Devil.
continued with his party just one floor below. That wasn't grief. That wasn't respect. That was arrogance. That was power on full display, he
Jimmy
said.
Inoscope IV.
He claimed that Whitney had tried to warn others.
Poison Ivy.
Kanye referenced the now viral video of Whitney interrupting an interview 2 days before her death, whispering to Brandy and allegedly saying the word drowned. You think she didn't know? Kanye asked. That was a cry for help, and nobody answered.
Oh my God. Whitney Houston represents Israel. You remember idiot Kevin Costner was some kind of bodyguard? Nah, he plays Satan trying to guard her. Israel is the black people, us. So y'all know why the king came. Tupac Shakur. That's the king. That's Christ. Y'all don't get it. But
He
hip
then
hop
made an
is
even
bigger
more
than hip
disturbing
hop.
claim. According to Kanye,
It's
Whitney had
history.
called someone close to her hours before her death and left a cryptic voicemail. He says this call was wiped from her phone records.
in pop.
You don't just
culture.
erase a call unless it says something they don't want anyone to hear, Kanye
Hip.
insisted. When asked who they were,
Forget the
Kanye
hop.
said, the ones Clive works for.
Like a
The
beer.
ones who've been running this game since before most of y'all were born. Kanye concluded the segment of his testimony by stating that Diddy was guilty,
Get
but
your
not
friends,
alone.
subscribe, please.
You're looking at a monster, but someone made him that way.
So we can get these monsters.
Kanye doubled down,
Dead up in the
calling
game.
Whitney Houston's death part of a pattern.
God
He
damn.
rattled off names like Michael Jackson and Prince, saying they too were sacrificed for power and money.
God
They all
damn.
tried to fight back. You think Prince wanted to die alone in an elevator? You think Michael wanted to go out like that?
Oh
Come
my
on now,
God.
he said. Kanye argued that Whitney was silenced because she refused to stay quiet. She had demons, yes, but she was trying to rise. She was making
Because they
plans,
knew
reaching out to people,
the demon
writing
in the
things
game.
down. She was going to talk.
The devil
He
in
then
the detail.
implicated Clive Davis in maintaining control of her catalog, reputation, and ultimately her legacy. Kanye cited how Whitney's posthumous releases
She was
soared
like an
in
Afeni
sales,
Shakur.
and how Clive's net worth continued to grow. She was worth more dead than alive. And they knew it, he said. He brought up Bobby Christina, Whitney's daughter, who died in eerily similar fashion. Same bathtub, same drugs, same silence.
Devil ain't
Kanye
getting
said,
away with it
his
this
voice
time.
trembling.
It's over.
If that ain't a pattern,
America.
I don't know what is.
Trumpo.
The gallery was silent.
Clive.
One juror reportedly had tears in their eyes.
Oh, you so-called
Kanye finished by
Jewish
saying,
smush.
You can call me crazy. You can say I'm reaching.
Shalom
But ask
to your
yourself
dome.
this.
It's
How
over,
many
mother-
coincidences make a conspiracy?
Bring the war.
As he stepped down from the
War
stand,
fleet.
the entire courtroom remained still.
Done.
Diddy stared blankly. His attorneys were visibly shaken. And the public? They were already spreading Kanye's words like wildfire.
Yeah.
As Kanye West's testimony
Kanye
against Diddy continued,
told the truth.
it took a
And it
shocking
goes all
and
the way back to
entirely
neck and
unexpected turn.
Kyaku.
Initially focused on the web of abuse, control,
People
and
gotta go,
trafficking
man.
allegations,
Don't give a
Kanye
fuck.
suddenly pivoted. With the courtroom hushed,
Get away
he
from
leaned
our
into
community.
the microphone and, in a
How
grave
dare
tone,
you
said,
people? Y'all
and
going
let's
down.
be honest, Diddy ain't the one pulling all the
Killing us.
strings. This goes
Using
deeper,
us.
way deeper. I'm
The usury culture must end immediately. Otherwise, all of you will end with the end of the world. I guarantee you.
talking about
If you
Clive
don't do something
Davis.
about it,
That
because you're a
name
sucker,
dropped
you're
like
part
a
of it.
bombshell. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Even Diddy, who had been fidgeting nervously during the testimony, stopped cold and turned to his attorneys with a stunned look. For a brief second, the courtroom seemed to pause in suspended silence. Then Kanye continued, his voice firmer. He began recounting what he described as a dark pipeline in the music industry, one that Whitney Houston herself tried to escape. Whitney knew, Kanye claimed, she tried to leave. She tried to talk. And you all know what happened next. He alleged that her sudden death, found face down in a bathtub just hours before a party hosted by Clive Davis in the very same hotel, wasn't just tragic, but orchestrated. Kanye then referenced the infamous pre-Grammy party, calling it not a tribute, but a ritual. You think it's a coincidence that she died in that hotel and the party kept going? That ain't grief, that's control, that's power, that's sending a message. Prosecutors exchanged surprised glances. Kanye hadn't warned anyone this was coming, but he wasn't done. That party was the mask. The real celebration wasn't downstairs, it was upstairs. That woman was gone, and they knew she was gone. They danced while she lay upstairs, cold. Clive knew. Everyone knew. But nobody said nothing. By now, Diddy was visibly shaken, but not from Kanye's accusations toward him. It was the shift in focus that rattled him. Kanye was making it clear that there was a bigger fish behind the scenes. And the fish, in his eyes, was Clive Davis. Defense attorneys objected, trying to steer the testimony back to Diddy.
Whitney, to
But the judge allowed Kanye to finish his train of thought, as his statements related to the culture of intimidation in the industry, a central theme in the case. In his conclusion, Kanye stared across the courtroom and asked, "You want to know why I don't end up like Michael Jackson, like Whitney? Because I stopped playing their game." He paused, then delivered the most chilling line of the day.
Gotta go. The more you
Clive
get
Davis
scared of them,
is not
the more
a
they're
mentor.
not scared of you.
He's an architect,
I ain't afraid
and his
of them.
blueprints are made of silence and bathtubs. Following Kanye's explosive claim, court officials replayed a series of documentary excerpts and eyewitness testimonies about the night Whitney Houston died. The goal? To verify or discredit Kanye's suggestion that Whitney's death wasn't accidental. The jury watched in silence as security footage showed a frenzied set of events at the Beverly Hilton. Her assistant found her body at 3:30 p.m., and by 3:55, Whitney Houston was officially declared dead. But what stood out the most wasn't just the timeline. It was the atmosphere afterward. Despite Whitney's death, Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party went ahead as planned just hours later, in the same hotel. Several witnesses, including hotel staff and security,
change the hotel business
that
forever.
her body remained in the room
H2Go
upstairs
Market
as
got the
celebrities
plan.
danced, posed for photos,
This
and
game
toasted champagne.
must be changed.
Some attendees claimed they didn't even
A will and testament must be having in this hip-hop business. And we don't give a damn. We have our own insurance. If y'all don't want to support us, y'all part of the evil.
know she had died until the next morning. Others said they found out and were horrified the party wasn't canceled. A longtime friend of Whitney's told the court she would have never wanted the show to go on.
Many of
That
you to come
wasn't her.
together and
That
come
was them.
join us. Send me a
When
message.
asked who them was, she said
Ask for
plainly,
my number.
the people who made money off her, whether she was alive
It's
or
on
dead.
my DM. I'll
The
send you
courtroom
guys
was
a-
then shown excerpts from the infamous interview in which Whitney crashes Clive's media appearance with Brandy and Monica.
Okay.
The footage, shown just 2 days before her death, depicted Whitney handing Brandy a note and repeating the word, drown. Viewers were stunned. One expert analyst told the jury that such a repetition, in context, could suggest premonition or fear. It's as if she knew, he said. Kanye's earlier claims began to feel less like a wild outburst and more like a connecting thread, especially when Chaka Khan's past interviews were read aloud, where she described Clive's party as complete insanity, stating that it felt more like a sacrifice than a tribute. The implication was dark. Whitney's death was known, expected, and
See, this is a sign. When you women know things, you black women, when you know things about these wicked white men, tell brothers so we can eradicate them. So you have no more fear. These white men gotta be done with this evil. They're too wicked.
some disturbing
It's a
way
covetousness
acknowledged.
attitude.
Not with mourning, but with celebration. Clive Davis declined to testify at the trial,
Rebuke them all.
citing health concerns.
'Cause
But
they're
that didn't
wicked.
stop prosecutors from drawing attention to the optics
That's what God
and
said.
the money.
They are the wicked.
After Whitney's death, her album
And
sales
they will not lose it
skyrocketed.
until he destroys them.
Licensing deals were renegotiated, royalties flowed, the posthumous machine kicked in.
And
the
it's
key
not about
beneficiary
the
of
color
that
white.
financial surge.
No, it's about
Clive
whoever
Davis.
thinks like them. Those
By now,
evil ones.
the courtroom had adjusted to the shock, but no
You
one
wanna talk
expected
about
Kanye to
pride.
return to the stand for a second round of testimony, this time with purpose. In what observers
love
called
money, you
a
do anything for
calculated
money,
bomb
you're proud of
drop,
them.
Kanye expanded his claims. Clive Davis didn't just pull the strings alone, he used Diddy. The courtroom erupted. Diddy's lawyers shouted objections, demanding relevance, but Kanye pressed forward. Diddy was the fall guy, the front, the one they used to get close to people like Whitney, like Michael. And if you don't believe me, ask Fahim Muhammad.
Mike,
The name Fahim
Look at
Muhammad
that.
turned heads immediately. Former head of security for both Michael Jackson and Diddy, Fahim had already been mentioned in Lil Rod's civil lawsuit as someone who could make people and problems disappear.
look at that.
Kanye claimed that Fahim wasn't just security. He was a handler, one who moved from Jackson's circle to Diddy's with uncanny timing.
He's an
Then
Arabian
Kanye
nigga.
delivered his
See
most
that?
damning claim
Fahim?
yet. I heard the tape of Michael's last phone call. And guess who he was trying to warn people about? Not Dr. Murray, not Sony. Clive Davis. Gasps rippled through the gallery. According to Kanye, Michael had grown paranoid in his final weeks, and not without reason. He believed he was being followed, recorded, and monitored. Michael said, "They're coming for me," and he meant Clive. Not in code, not in metaphor, in name. Prosecutors then played a video clip of Kanye from an old interview. In it, he said, "The people who made Michael disappear are the same ones trying to silence me." The courtroom, now deeply invested in Kanye's narrative, watched as connections between industry moguls, handlers,
My
and
God.
unexplained deaths began to feel less speculative and more sinister. Was it a conspiracy or a desperate artist's last attempt to reclaim truth? That question now sat with the jury. As Kanye West stepped down from the stand,
Subscribe,
murmurs
subscribe.
filled the courtroom. But the prosecution wasn't done. To corroborate his claims, they called a forensic psychiatrist to the stand who had studied the behavioral patterns of Whitney Houston in the final weeks of her life. The expert, who had reviewed hours of interviews, personal journal entries, and eyewitness accounts, painted a chilling picture. She exhibited signs of extreme paranoia. The expert testified she was convinced someone was watching her, that her phone was tapped, that she was being followed. The prosecution then played a 2012 interview clip that had previously gone unnoticed. Whitney saying, "They want to silence me." When asked who they were, Whitney declined to name names, but her eyes told a story. There was a fear that no amount of fame could mask.
Man,
Enter
just
the
say the
infamous
names.
Brandy interview,
Y'all
shown
women gotta
again.
stop hiding.
Whitney passing a cryptic note
The
on
devil is
camera
a
just
clown.
2 days before her death.
LGBT
For
wacko member.
years, fans
He
speculated
needs to,
what
he
that
need to
note
be
said.
whacked.
Now,
Spinning reels,
Simple.
smooth gameplay.
Y'all black women better tell brothers the crazy wackos in this devilish game of yours, because you playing Eve and you playing the wrong game. And y'all don't want to speak about nothing. Y'all want to chase money forever. That's why God keep putting y'all ass in pain. Y'all better start saying the truth to us so we can get this evil away.
Kanye West claimed he had spoken to someone
So-called
close to
rich
Brandy
evil.
who told him Whitney had scribbled, "Don't trust Clive. I need help." That note has never resurfaced, but its timing and her mention of the word drown repeatedly in the same moment hit hard.
You can't have none of these fools in
Prosecution
our
moved
games,
to a
in
timeline.
our businesses, in our
February
lives,
11th, 2012.
entrepreneurships.
Whitney was scheduled to perform at Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party at the Beverly Hilton. Hours before the event, she was found unresponsive in her hotel bathtub. While paramedics worked upstairs, Clive's party was setting up downstairs. Cameras flashed, champagne poured. Witnesses recalled the eerie contrast. One floor above, a woman's life was lost. One floor below, the music played on. Several industry insiders were called to the stand anonymously. One stated under oath, Whitney had been saying for months that she wanted out of contracts, out of deals, out of the machine. When asked what she feared would happen, the insider simply said, she was afraid they'd do to her what they did to Michael.
Jeez.
And then came the bombshell. An ex-employee of Clive Davis testified that in the week before Whitney's death, she overheard a heated phone call between Davis and another executive. According to her, Clive said, "If she won't play ball, she's a liability. That's not my problem anymore." Whether the quote could be verified was uncertain. But in a courtroom already on edge from Kanye's claims, it hit like thunder. The jury leaned in. One woman covered her mouth. And Diddy? He sat, arms crossed, no longer defensive, just pale.
Crazy.
Kanye's claim that the Clive Davis pre-Grammy party was not a tribute but a ritual now took center stage. The
Sad.
prosecution played a clip of Chaka Khan from a 2012 interview. Her voice trembled as she recalled, "I was supposed to. I just couldn't get dressed. It
Subscribe.
felt wrong." She went on to say she couldn't understand how anyone could party while Whitney's body lay upstairs. Then came a video montage of the party itself, celebrities dancing, laughing, taking photos, all while security guarded room 434, where Whitney's body remained for 11 hours.
Oh
A
my
former
God.
staff member at the Beverly Hilton testified that he saw music executives walking out of Whitney's room just hours before the party began. He said he thought it was strange. They didn't look shocked or sad. They looked calm, like it was handled. His testimony was short, but the silence that followed was long. Next came footage of Clive Davis being interviewed the day after Whitney's death. When asked if he had considered canceling the party, Clive replied without hesitation, "Never." This, the prosecution argued, wasn't just callous. It suggested premeditation. "You're telling me," the prosecutor said in closing remarks, "that the man who discovered Whitney Houston couldn't cancel a party out of respect
Bring him
or grief?"
to the courts.
Then came
immediately.
financial records.
We need to
After
bring
Whitney's
this
death,
demon
her albums re-entered the
his
Billboard
whole
Top 10
entourage
within 24 hours.
to
Sales
justice.
jumped 1,000%. Licensing rights skyrocketed. The key benefactor of this windfall?
This platform has already brought thousands of dollars in profit to many
Look at that.
Canadians, and now it is
I can't
available.
believe it, y'all. This has to end. Oh Lord, we are praying for the conclusion of this wahala, this crazy,
Clive Davis.
sick,
It was at this
wicked
point
game.
that Kanye's earlier words
Fools.
echoed through the courtroom. "You're worth more dead than alive, as long as they own your masters." The prosecution argued that the industry, particularly Davis, had a financial incentive to capitalize on Whitney's death. And when death becomes profit, motive begins to emerge. But what disturbed the courtroom most was the spiritual element Kanye referenced, the idea of a ritual. Images were shown from the party, red lighting, strange symbols in the decor, and celebrities arriving in all black. A music industry whistleblower testified anonymously that the party had the energy of a celebration, not of life, but of a closing. He said, "I've been to every Clive Davis party for 15 years. That one was different." And so the jury was left with a haunting question. Was this really just a tribute to a fallen icon? Or was it a masked celebration of a silent sacrifice? As the final day of the week wrapped up, the courtroom was forever changed. Kanye West was called back for a final statement, not legally necessary, but the judge allowed it. "They tried to silence me too," Kanye began, his voice steady. "Whitney, Michael, Prince, they wanted out, and they got put down." He accused the music industry of operating like a cartel, calling Clive Davis the puppeteer and Diddy the enforcer. Diddy didn't throw that party because he wanted to, Kanye claimed. He threw it because he had to. That's what happens when you sign a soul deal with devils. Kanye pointed to Fahim Muhammad again, saying he was the common thread between Michael Jackson's downfall and Diddy's current scandal. How does a 20-year-old business grad go from campus to guarding Michael Jackson? Then Diddy? Either he's a genius, or he's a ghost handler. But Kanye's most jaw-dropping statement came as he concluded his remarks. "I know y'all want to paint me as crazy. You did the same to Ye, to Michael, to Whitney. But here's the difference. I'm still breathing. And I ain't gonna stop talking. Because silence is how they win. And I ain't letting them win."
Straight up.
The judge adjourned for the day, but the buzz didn't stop. Reporters flooded the hallway. The jury left visibly shaken. Diddy's legal team, once composed and confident, now looked rattled and reactive. The press called it the most explosive celebrity testimony in decades. But more than that, it had now become clear this wasn't just a trial about Diddy. This was a trial about power, silence, and sacrifice in the entertainment industry. A modern-day reckoning, one where Kanye West stood up against all odds and pointed to Clive Davis, saying, "You may have taken them."
This demon. We have to get this demon. This is the devil in the detail. Let's show you him. We don't want to hear any more stories. This devil. Look at him. Take a good look at him. Time to hang this devil spiritually, physically, and including all his friends, like Poison Ivy, all these people behind the sick game they're trying to play in our community, based on nothing but distribution. These demons gotta go. We rebuke them all. We pray to the Lord. Please, before you end their life, make it worse than Gaddafi's end, so they can be embarrassed, their whole families, everybody can be put down to sunder. Amen.